Welcome everyone to the Toku Portal podcast. It's me, Zero, here once again. Sorry for the late start, everyone. We were just trying to see if anybody else could make it, but everybody is a little bit busy, which is totally fine. But I'm here, so I'll try to keep it short. Let's get started. So today we're talking about episode 17 of Kamen Rider Saber. For once, well, not once, but one of the few decent episode. Like, I would squarely say this was okay to, well, I'd say it was decent. It's not like amazing, but it's like a solid Rider episode. Like, you could see this in any other Rider show. I don't really have too many complaints. Or yeah, actually I don't have that many complaints because it's like a first part, honestly, because like, if I could complain, it'd be like, oh, what about, like, I hope they pay it off well. But again, it's episode 1, so I can't really complain about that. So, good job, episode 1. Yes, so, episode 17, it's written by Nobuhiro Mori. Oh, yeah, Mori. And Satoshi Morita is the director. Whereas this is the first time it's the first appearance of this director in Saber. They've done previous writer work, and this writer has written let's see, two-parters, episode 3 and 4, and episode 9 and 10. So basically, those are pretty decent episodes. They're a little more emotional heavy. So that's good for this director. As for as for this writer. As for the directing, yeah, it's pretty solid. Like, it seems like a writer episode, like how a writer episode should look. That's what it looks like. That's how it's shot. Nothing too crazy with any angles or anything, but like, it's got like decent writer coverage. I mean, considering this director has been doing stuff for a long time in Tokusatsu, like at least back in writer, at least as back as Blade and stuff. So that's why you can see like the classic, or I guess more like standard writer style of shooting an episode. So they did a good job. The action was decent. You could see everything. Also, I guess like the COVID measures might have been relaxed a little bit in Japan. So like you're getting more like location shoots and people and stuff. And it's starting to feel like the show is taking place in a world again. So that might help a little bit. We also changed things up because this is the first time we have like a human infected by a book. So this is kind of like creating the next level of grunts, like the next monster of the week. So they're stronger, but the catch is you can't just take them out because there's a human inside. And that's pretty much what Toma's like wrestling with this episode. Well, I mean, two things. One is like, like all the fighting that happened last episode, he's still trying to like figure out what to do from here now, right? Like how does he get back to being with his friends and figure out what the hell's going on? And like the sort of logos also, they're trying to figure out what to do next, because like they don't really know if they can trust Toma, and then clearly the southern base lady is like shady as all hell, but these guys currently don't suspect her, Reka. So Reka, she seems pretty shady, and she basically puts out a hit. Well, she basically tells them to go and get Toma's books and stuff, and to get Yuri, who is like the Sword of Light or whatever, because like he's too dangerous left alone, sort of like they don't know what could happen if the enemy gets that kind of power and stuff like that. So basically their mission now is to get Toma's books and get Yuri. But you also see a change of set where it's like they're at the southern base now instead of the northern base. So instead of that fancy staircase and it's all lit up, it's a lot more gloomy, and they've got like chairs. So a little more round table-y vibe, except there's no table. But the point is, like, it looks a little more drab, but it's different. You also have this interesting thing where it's like they're all sitting around sort of talking, where it's like Rintaro still wants to believe in Toma a little bit. Ogami basically just, it's like, hey, let's just go talk to the guy, or just get the book for now. Like, we can figure something out once we talk. Like, Daishinji really hasn't done anything. Like, he didn't say too much. He was there, but he like didn't say anything. The most interesting thing was Akumaji. So like like Ren. Basically Kenzan, right? Like, I think it's probably the most fired up Kenzan we've ever seen. Is like, oh no, they killed my god damn it, shit, name, why am I forgetting his name? Esparta. Basically they said they like, like Caliber killed Esparta. Like, why would you listen to anything that crazy person said, right? And he's like all fired up because it's like, fucking Esparta's dead. I'm not listening to anybody or dealing with any of this shit. Like, so he's like really emotional, which is, normally he's pretty fired up, but like this is a different emotional side. I mean, like, he was pretty pissed off last episode too, but like, here you're starting to see a little more emotion, a little bit more range, so that's nice. He's getting a little bit of character. You also see like Ogami, Buster is like the first to like try to like talk to him, and he's like having none of that shit, right? And then like Daishinji is kind of just there. He's not doing anything, and like Rentaro is clearly like conflicted. Is like, should he follow the base's orders or should he continue trusting Toma, right? And so that's their story. It's interesting that they're like, you can see their dynamics between the characters, like the plot's moving forward. So yeah, like, honestly, I feel like it's a really well balanced episode. So, if like the rest of Saber was like this, at least it'd be an okay show. It wouldn't be the most amazing show, but it'd be okay. So, it's a good baseline. And let's go over to the villains. Basically, Legiel sends out another monster, or I mean, I guess he like infects May's boss, right? The editor in chief. And she becomes the Yeti monster. And that's interesting. Well, I mean, like, he's not super interesting, but at least he like Toma and those guys ask him, is like, why are you still attacking? Like, we took out Caliber, right? Like why are you still doing it? And he's pretty much like, who cares about Caliber? We were just using him. Like, our plans will still continue. So like, yeah, right. Caliber was just another thing that they were using. Like, they don't really give a shit that he dropped dead. Yeah, and I mean, especially considering it's Legiel. Like, Legiel doesn't care about anyone. He's like the most evil of them all, pretty much. But we'll see. So yeah, I mean, like, the villains kind of have a little bit of moments where it's like, or especially because of something Yuri says, where it's like, oh, like it's a forbidden technique that can turn humans into the monsters, right? And it's like, and then it just cuts to the villains. It's like, oh, were the villains humans at one point? Did something happen, or at least like one of them? Um, it could be interesting. And then like another general like villain wants to go out, but then like yells already goes out and is like, oh, so you already sent out a monster, huh? So it's like, yeah, you're kind of seeing a little bit of their dynamic. It's not the most amazing thing, but like, you know, it's better than nothing. And so that's like the two stories, and then the main one this episode is Toma, Yuri, and May, where it's like Yuri's hanging out with Toma and May, and like May and Toma get back to like the bookshop, and they see it's like it's all trashed. They're like, "What the hell? Were we robbed?" But it's like it's locked. What? And then you find out Yuri's there, and he was just trying to like learn new stuff because like he hasn't been active for like 1,000 years, which is great. Honestly, like as the way Saber has been going, it's been a little boring and one note with its characters. But like honestly, every single character you can kind of see their personality in this episode, which again, you know, good job director. Um, and like Yuri's not the most amazing character, but he has like his like little quirks which are great. Where it's like, oh, he likes to read. He doesn't know too much about the modern world, but he wants to learn, so he's like always curious. And then whenever something interesting comes up, it like he focuses on that, but it's not like he's like super naive. Like he actively does it sometimes because he doesn't really want to answer questions, so like he's not as, it's not as child like innocent as you would think, which would make sense because like he's like a guardian sword that's been living for such a long ass time, right? He's not super nice, but like he's not a bad guy, right? He's just got his own thing going on, and he's just been fighting for so long. He kind of has his own set of ethics, where it's like later on when Toma's like, we had to save like the editor, and then Yuri's like, if you want to save the editor, just kill them, right? It's like pretty much kind of the Garo mentality of like, look, this person's infected. You can try to fucking find a cure, but like a ton of people tried it, they didn't succeed. They're gonna die fucking painfully or kill more people if you don't stop them. So just stop them. And of course, you know, like Koga does his own thing, but it's like I said, it's kind of like a standing thing where it's like Yuri is like, yeah, a swordsman's job. Like all a swordsman can do is like give them a quick death, essentially, right? Like they don't have the ability to freaking heal people. Which, you know, wait till next episode until that gets fucking thrown out the window, or if some new Deus Ex Machina or something shows up, or like some new random power up, or it's like, oh, I'll grant you my power, in which case that's gonna be such horseshit because like you could have saved them from the start, you just like didn't. Or maybe it's like, oh, both of you combined, but that might be a problem for next episode. But also it's kind of a writer trope, so like I can't really blame them because like modern writers don't kill people, even people who are infected, right? There's no tragedy of like, oh, this person got turned into a monster, we stopped them, but like at what cost, right? Like it's not like old school writer where it's like, shit, there's no cure, we're just gonna have to stop this person's rampage. But otherwise, like, yeah, we have like really cute moments with like May and Toma hanging around with Yuri. It's like a great moment. I love that moment where Yuri's like, why are they laughing at me? It's like, oh, you stand out too much, your outfit's a little crazy, and he just like looks at people and like tries on different outfits. I'm like, oh, that's such a, like, it's such a quick gag, but it's like one of those small fun things, you know? Like them just going out doing stuff, or like sneaking back into like the bookshop and seeing what's going on, like stuff like that. Like it adds so much more character. Or like the Sword of Logos just sitting around talking, or the villains. Well, I mean the villains are just mostly there for exposition, so I can't really say too much about them. But it doesn't take much to give people character. If you give them little bits over, like an arc or a couple episodes, it means more in the grand scheme of things, instead of just like going plot point to plot point, next thing, and like never stopping to even give like tiny moments. Like that's all you really need for a show. Is like, yeah, okay, maybe give them like an episode or two talking about a person and their personality or whatever, or like a specific episode focus on them, but usually you can just give them like little small moments throughout a series, and people will like latch on to characters, but yeah, like that's what this episode did. It was a good start. It's kind of annoying that the Sword of Logos is kind of just like falling in line, but like again, they're at like a whole different base. They don't know who to trust. Shit's going down. I kind of give them a little bit of a pass, but then again, Sword of Logos always kind of has like a bad habit of just like fighting with swordsmen instead of actually getting to the bottom of this. So maybe they'll learn this time. Anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think they changed the intro. I mean, like, maybe it happened before, but, like, I definitely noticed it this episode. Like, the intro's a little bit different. The outro is pretty much the same, I think. But, like, the intro, they changed it up a little bit. Like, a couple scenes here and there. Nothing too major, but it looks a little different. Yeah, anyway, there's not much to say. Like, this was a decent episode. It was well written. It was well directed. Everybody did a decent job of acting. Kenzan actually got more than just something a little more than just being one note. Yuri is actually a pretty decent character. Yeah, like even Tassel's like, oh, Yuri, you've been like in Avalon for too long, like you're kind of being a little harsh or something. So it's like, yeah, like every single character is getting a little small moment this episode, which is well done. Hopefully the second part is also at least this good. It'd be nice if it was a great payoff, but like I'd be fine with it just being standard, like this level of quality. It would be fine. Yeah, because for a first episode, it's a pretty decent first episode. I also like I think it's in the intro, I think. I don't think they added May. Like, yeah, I don't think the ending hit. In the intro, you see, like, May at the agency, right? In which case, you're probably gonna... If that's the case, then you might see them more doing stuff outside and interacting more with people, which would give them a lot more time to give like little character moments to everyone, which would be nice. Like this episode going forward. So like it's beginning, like if we're pretty much like basically if we're just restarting the show at this point, like okay, completely new arc, right? Like Calibur's gone, new base, who Sophia, who knows where the hell she went. Right, like pretty much it's like a whole new beginning, go. And like if we're doing that, then like yeah, it was a decent first episode for that. Hopefully it continues. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining me today. Sorry there was no episode last week. I guess it was Golden Week or something, so we didn't do a Rider Sentai thing, but I think there's gonna be one next week, so yeah, join us again on Tuesday for Sentai and Wednesday for Rider. Hopefully the second part is at least this good. Like I was not looking forward to this episode, but it was actually pretty decent, so that's a good sign. Hopefully it continues. But yeah, thanks again for joining me, and Zero signing out. Talk to you guys later.